3、2、1。
So what it do? Welcome back to the Mic Check Podcast. This is T Word, the People's Champ. Today we're talking about USC visiting Colorado and Boulder for a nice little showdown in the Pac-12. Before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We truly appreciate it. And please, please, please engage with the content. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about it for a minute. You've got Caleb Williams and USC headed to Boulder, Colorado to take on Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders for Colorado's home game after falling out of the rankings after a significant loss to Oregon just a week ago. So a lot of people are making a lot of stink about Colorado taking a big time L against Oregon in the game that Oregon was a 21-point favorite. When a team is 21-point favorites, they're typically going to win by more than that, unless something goes horribly wrong, like injuries or just, unreasonable penalties or something crazy like that, like ref interference. So when you think about it, the outcome was expected to some degree. I mean, many people at the end of the Colorado State game were already saying Oregon was going to blow them out. So the fact that it actually played out that way shouldn't be surprising to anyone. But part of the narrative is that because Colorado is loud and brash, that they needed to be humbled when this loss took place. And I just don't subscribe to that type of mindset, simply because the coach, Deion Sanders, his job is to keep his team fired up and make them believe that they are better. And maybe they are sometimes, and that's how you get better performances. So I don't have an issue with that. So now USC is rolling into town, and they're also a favorite. I believe it's 20.5, so 21-point favorite. And the projected outcome is likely the same. Now, given that they've got that 1 week of experience of definitely getting beat on, the pride within that team and then the talent also may help them rise to a better level and perform at a better standard against a USC team that did show some hiccups in the previous week. So when you start to think about offensively, can Colorado's defense match up with the offense? Brendan Rice, Caleb Williams, the running back for USC. Can they find a way to stop these guys or at least slow them down and keep the score close? I'm not projecting a win for Colorado simply because the depth of talent and at the positions where it matters the most, in the trenches, the defensive and offensive line are not P5 level just yet. These are good players, but as a collective, they just don't have what it takes to compete with the teams that have already put their P5 lines together. Now, next year when that recruiting class come in, shit gonna look different. But for right now, they're gonna have to take their lumps, and the guys that are in the trenches right now are gonna learn, and then some people are gonna come in and compete with them for those jobs. And USC is gonna find a way to take advantage, but I don't expect a blowout. Don't be surprised if this game is close to 3/4, and then maybe at the end, USC pulls away and wins by 2 touchdowns. But early on, I kind of see Colorado being very much more competitive. The one issue that concerns me the most is USC getting to Shedeur Sanders and frustrating him to the point where he starts to make mistakes. At this point in the season, he's got a lot of passing yards. He has 1 interception, so he's not turning the ball over, but he's been sacked 21 times in 4 games. That can't continue if you want to compete at this level. And USC has the dogs and the horses to make it happen and get after him and make it a long day for that young man. And then we're really going to find out what he looks like when he's in a position where he has to bounce back almost immediately. So for me, I'm going to be watching that element. If Colorado can get a little bit of offense off, they're going to keep this game closer early. If Shedeur's under pressure and getting sacked right away, then we could see another repeat of that 42-6 blowout that Oregon laid on them. And then it's going to really separate who's who. It's not going to change my mind about who Colorado is. I think this team is ahead of schedule. And I think that all the pieces are in place to be better. And they're going to surprise some people and maybe win 6 or 7 games. I've even heard people predicting 8. I'm having a hard time finding 8 wins on the schedule, but I could definitely find a total of 6, and that's going to make them bowl eligible and put them in front of even more eyes when it comes to recruits. Speaking of, Coach Prime has some heavyweight recruits coming to town, and even if they were to lose, if he treats them well and he sees that, hey, you see what happened to us? If we had you here, we don't lose this game. you have to think about win, lose, or draw. He's going to have a great marketing tool because he's going to be able to convince those kids that we're going to put you on national TV. They're going to get to see, ESPN crews and all these different reporters and such, and recognize like, hey man, this is what I need to get to the next level after I make it to college. Maybe this is the place I need to be. So you have to think this is a win-win for Colorado. But on the actual scoreboard and in the actual win-loss column, I'm leaning USC, and I think that it's going to be at least a 2-touchdown victory. However, if Shador is under pressure early on in the game, this might get ugly pretty soon, and this might be the first time in a long time he's actually sitting on the bench in the fourth quarter, and the backup will come in to get some snaps. So let me know what you think about the dynamics going on here. What are Colorado's chances in your mind, and do you think that USC is going to put another beating on them, or do you think Colorado is going to be competitive? So this has been T for the Mike Check Podcast. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.